alive. I've actually, you know, I clearly have been alive. I just haven't posted anything for a while. I think the last video that I did post was when I got drunk, which is funny that that's been the last video for, you know, however long it's been. A few months, 3 months, 2 months, 3 months, something like that. Uh, Seems so weirdly awkward to pull this camera up. I can't get my beard to not be rubbing on my microphone because it's grown that much longer since the last time I recorded a video that it's now just so part of my head. I just have to pull this up to get this to be where it's not completely shoved into my beard. For close to 2 years, the beard's been growing. I've been contemplating shaving it more and more. It just gets really friggin' annoying. Um, I practically eat it in every meal that I try to eat, and I shed hair so much. I mean, it's constantly, I'm playing with my beard and just pieces of hair is constantly coming off of it, and I hate it. So, sooner or later, probably gonna have to shave it. I'd like to make it to November, because if I made it to November, that would be exactly well, it'd be like November 25th, I think it is 2 years. Why's the phone gotta ring at 5 in the... Just a foreign person saying somebody was at my hotel trying to check in, when clearly there's no one here and there's no one I can see outside the parking lot, so, um, okay. But, I don't have any rooms available anyway, so can't help you there. Uh, trying to think. I mean, obviously, in the last 2 or 3 months, a lot of stuff has gone on, but I can't really think of where to start. I guess I got a new car. Uh, I haven't obviously shown you guys or talked about it, but I haven't shown people on Facebook or anything about it either. Really, unless you're like a close enough person to me to have actually like seen me come to your house in it, you don't know I got a new car, which is fine. Obviously, especially YouTube, you guys are going to be the hardest to know because unless I tell you or showed you in a video, you would have no idea. Uh, but yeah, my truck was having all kinds of issues, and uh, I got set up with buying a really nice car. It's older. It's weird. It's hard, because when you tell somebody that you've got yourself like a really nice car, people associate that with new. Like I'm gonna get a nice car. I'm getting a really nice car, and people are just like, "Oh, you're getting a new car." Then they think like new as in like age-wise new, and it's like that's not really always the case. I mean, this car I got is 10 years older than my truck, and it's nicer than my truck. So, I mean, like, sometimes going backwards in time, you can actually get a nicer vehicle. I won't go in complete details because I'm still trying to decide where Harold's life is going to take him. The car's name is Harold. I've never owned a boy's car, a name for a boy as a car, but Harold's, he's a special guy, and I will at least I'll give you guys a few hints. Some of you might be able to guess it. I'm gonna guess the majority of you probably aren't. It's a 1995. It's a car, has a V8, and it's like fast-ish. It could eventually be considered a muscle car, but being as it's only like 25 years old, I don't really know if that really classifies as being a muscle car yet, but or like a classic muscle car, Maybe when I get older and, the car's like 50, 60 years old, maybe it would be more considered like a classic muscle car. But Harold's a good car. He accelerates good. He drives great. I mean, he gets about same gas mileage as my truck did, being as it's got a V8 in it. Uh, it's a 95, so in theory, I did sacrifice some things that my truck had that the car doesn't have, like features, because of the fact of obviously in 95 they didn't have everything they had in 2005. I still own the truck, and I still actually I keep putting that off, and I should probably really do that now that I really think about it. But yeah, I practically I need to buy this part for my transmission, and once I put this part on my transmission, and then I can add fluid to my transmission. If adding fluid to the transmission of the truck doesn't save the truck, like if it's still broken at that point, like the transmission's so far gone, because there came down to a possibility right at the end that there's a possibility that my truck is slipping due to low fluid, and from how long it's been slipping at 2 years and how it's not the most violent shift. It actually shifts really smoothly, but it does it in higher RPMs, which is where you can tell it's like not, it's slipping, it's not catching like it's supposed to. Um, there's a small, very small possibility that just adding fluid to it would change that. Now, for anybody out there that's like, well, you're an idiot if you've been driving your transmission for 2 years with not outputting fluid in it. If you don't know the early, like middle range 2000 era of Ford, they decided to put transmissions in that cannot have fluid added unless you take it to a dealership. There is no stick to check the fluid level. There's no inlet on the top of it that you can unscrew to add it. You literally have to have a machine that connects from the hole on the bottom of the transmission. That's the only way you can add and remove fluid from it. And if you don't have the fitting, you can't do anything. So that's why I have to buy a fitting for it to test it. But it's the most dumb. It's called a maintenance-free transmission. It's what it's called because they don't want you to be the one having to do the maintenance on it. But because of that, it completely screwed any of us over that start losing fluid or has low fluid in it. Now you're just stuck with having low fluid unless you go pay a couple $100s to have some shop actually like do it. So I said, screw that, and I bought everything separately myself. It was only about $100 for the pump and the fitting. And if it doesn't work, the pump fortunately is really designed for many different fluids. It's designed to pump gas, oil, or transmission fluid. So, it's not a waste. I can use it again in my life. But if the truck's transmission is not savable, then my buddy has already agreed, as much as I still would obviously have to run this by him 100% to make sure this is factually 100% true, but he promised me that he would allow me to bring the truck over to his house. He will help me remove the motor, and then I would scrap the truck from his house and then put my motor, probably more likely in my storage unit, or possibly bring it back to my house. Either way, so that way I can rebuild it, because that motor is actually the exact same motor that's in my car, but the motor in the truck is much newer, and it comes with a lot more horsepower than what the car has. So, um, through lots of research and reading things, I learned that my 95 block will bolt up to the transmission of a my 2005 block will mount up to the transmission of a 95. The only thing I need is a motor plate to to allow them to connect to each other, because obviously the 95 has bolts and like holes that were set up for the 95 block, and even though the 2005 matches it, there's a few bolts that aren't 100%. So you just need a motor plate to allow those to mate to each other, and it fits. And a lot of people actually do that. They get the older cars and they put the newer motors in them and stuff. Um, so if I completely rebuilt the truck motor, just the stock, not even to like make it fancy, just literally if I rebuilt the stock truck motor, I'd have like 250 horsepower, and that would be literally about, the car says it comes with 220, but I'm sure it's lost a lot because it's a 95, but it'd still be a a gain of 30 horsepower just from stock, and the car is fun as it is, so like another 30 horsepower on a brand new motor in that car would be fun as fuck. um, so but again, that's why I just need to decide what Harold's doing. I have a lot of plans and ideas I could do with him, but at the moment he is also currently my daily driver, so it's hard to own a car and be all like, I want to make you fast and make you fun when you need it to be your daily, so you can't really be out driving around and breaking it if you need it. So if the truck works, Harold will still stay in my life. Like if I can fix the truck with the transmission, Harold will still stay in my life, but I will own two vehicles because I parents always told me that it was dumb to own two vehicles because I'm paying insurance on two cars and I'm only ever really driving one. But in reality is I can't give up my truck. I love my truck way too much. Slash I use my, well, I haven't because I've been driving the car, but I'm just meaning like when I have my truck available to me, I use it a lot. I transport shit and stuff like that, and it has been difficult recently having to try to take things to my storage unit or something like that because it's like I have a car, I don't have a truck, so like I'm either ruining my interior by putting dirty ass shit in my back seat or I'm just not taking it because I don't have room. So having my truck back would be amazing. Plus, I feel like I'm laying on the floor. I went to drive my truck the other day. Unfortunately, there's a window that's kind of broken on it, so I really wasn't able to drive it. But just the small, tiny loop that I did right down to the end of my street and then turned around and come back to my house. Um, Power steering, it felt like my power steering pump was out in my truck, but in reality, it's just because that 95 is designed to have a really smooth and easy turning because it's a car versus the truck. So as soon as I got in the truck, it just felt like I was fighting the wheel to turn it, but in reality, the pump was working perfectly fine. It's just the difference of driving a truck versus a car. The other thing is you feel like you're way up in the air, and I love that. Like I know I'm really not that high, but or I mean I am, but I'm not. Like it's not like I'm in a lifted truck. I'm in a normal stock truck. It's just the fact that where you're sitting up here in the truck and the car you're way down here. You notice it. You sit in the car and you're like, wow, I feel like I'm on the ground. And then you sit in the truck and you're like, yeah, this is more like it. And so I definitely don't want to get rid of my truck if I can help it, but we have to do what we have to do. The truck needs a lot of work done. That's the biggest problem. I mean, we're sitting at the truck's sitting there, and as I've explained to my friends and my family, if this transmission works after I put some fluid in it and it's savable to the point where I decide I'm just going to fix the truck and then make it runnable, like perfectly runnable again. Uh, I have the parts for the front end, but I have to completely rebuild the front end. We're talking every single part for the front end has to be replaced, from brakes to suspension to the actual wheel hubs themselves. Like literally the entire front end is trash on this thing, which isn't bad. I've already, like I said, I already own all the parts for it. I just need to pay somebody to either do it or like spend the time to sit down and do it myself. It's not impossible for me to do it myself, but being as I'm not a mechanic and really have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, it's pretty much close to impossible. It would take me a very long time. So the car, obviously, I would need another car like the car I have, so that way I had the ability to continue to get around from work and stuff while my truck sat, like blocked up in the air while I worked on it. On top of that, the suspension in the rear needs replaced. I need brakes. I have a wheel bearing that's bad on my back right tire. I need new tires. My tires were showing bands when I stopped driving it. Um, the back window is broken in the sense that the latch broke, so the window doesn't shut. It just like lays against it, and then like that's why I can't drive it because unfortunately when I hit a bump, the springs for the window opens the window, and then I drive around with an open rear window, which isn't a huge deal. It's just more or less the fact I'm waiting for the day that I smack something with that glass and it shatters, and then I pop someone's tire or some bullshit. So it's just like I just don't drive it. And then on top of that, when it rains, it drips the water down the back window because it doesn't shut all the way. And now, fortunately, I've got everything cleared up and some plastic down so it doesn't completely ruin the truck. But at least for the first couple weeks I didn't drive it, it practically got soaked in the back. And, it just as like my friends and family have made sure that it's very clear in my head and understandable that, this truck needs every bit of probably $1,500 to $2,000 worth of work to completely fix it and get it perfectly running and back on the road. And when you think about the fact if it's a 19 or 2005, uh, it has transmission problems. It's got a lot of rust. The frame itself isn't horrible. It's got surface rust as most frames do. It's just the body that's sitting on top of the frame that's rotting away. Uh, you know, it's got 100 and almost 60,000 miles on it. It's just one of those things where it's like you look at it and it's like, is it really honestly that worth it to drop $2,000 into this truck? But as I see it, is if I have to drop 2 grand, and that's also 2 grand with paying somebody to do the work. If I did the work, if I'm the one that actually, you know, rebuilt the front end and put new wheel bearing in and suspension and all that, I mean, we're talking maybe only $1,000 because then I just have to pay for all the parts. I'm not paying for any of the labor. But I don't know exactly what it is that people charge to do that kind of stuff, but I'm gonna be completely honest and say probably gonna be every bit of $1,000 to do all of it because that's seems like a lot of stuff to do, and the stuff that I do know how to do, that I know that I have to do on that truck, I would understand it would cost what it would cost. But to stop talking about my truck like I always do on these fucking videos, it seems like I want to talk about something really shortly, and I'm not going to make it long because I really I don't know where any of this is going to be going. I would like to see it go somewhere, but obviously there are some things that would weigh as to why it maybe wouldn't be so easy. Anyways, I met this girl, and she is awesome. She knows that I have posted videos on YouTube and stuff like that. But I mean, she doesn't know my YouTube, which is awesome to finally meet somebody who found me interesting and doesn't know about my YouTube. Um, but I don't know. I just my first time, and I think ever that I've ever hit it off with a girl so fast. I mean, just like I've never connected with somebody on such a deep level like so quickly. Um, and then it's also my first time that I've ever actually had a girl that makes me honestly feel so good about myself that she makes me want to be a better person. And it's weird to me. The idea that like being someone even better than myself, like being a better version of me, not so much being a good person, because I like to think I'm a good person anyways, but just that idea that if that she gives me the drive, I guess, to want to be a better version or the best version of myself. And I've never seriously met a girl that's made me feel this way, so I'm really weirded by it. I'm trying not to be too and because this video is so long and I don't really have the exact time to get into everything in full detail or nothing like that. I will definitely explain in the future because we there are I won't say issues because it makes it seem like it's some huge horrible thing, and it's not. But I mean, there are things that naturally keep us from being together at this moment, and we both definitely have a thing for each other, and we are very close, and we have made it very clear to each other about how we feel. It's just like I said, there are a few things currently that prevent us from being able to actually be together. So, even if for some reason this doesn't end up actually turning into what I would like and hope it to turn into, I still just I want to just talk about it in general at some point, just because, like I said, I've just never. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like it's hard to find Matt Freeman be out of word. Like I can. You guys have watched hundreds of videos of mine where I've sat here and rambled to you about literally practically nothing at times, and never had an issue talking. And when I think about her, my brain just goes blank because it's just like she just she just acted different than any girl I've ever talked to. Like, seriously, I have never in my life had a girl blow me away in the first 6 hours that I met her like this girl did. she's just, yeah, she's just crazy, crazy cool, and and uh, you know, we hope to see where the future leads, but you know, no one knows for sure, and I'm just happy to have met her, regardless to if you know, where it ever actually takes us and stuff like that. But it's been 20 minutes, and I got some stuff I need to do for work eventually here in like 20, 30 minutes. Plus, I'm gonna eat my Lunchable. That's pizza, and I can do that in the next 30 minutes before I have to go open up the pool. So, thank you for watching this video. If any of you guys out there actually enjoyed it, a like would be much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, you could subscribe to keep up with content that clearly comes out whenever I want it to, and surprisingly enough, I actually gained one subscriber. I explained this once a couple of months ago in a video, and I doubt anybody's even watching the video at this point, but I don't know what it is, but like when you post every day, you lose subscribers, right? And then I stop posting for a couple months, and I will gain subscribers. And it's weird because it's like, why is it that people will subscribe to me when I'm not making content, but the moment that I start making daily content, or even just content that comes out more frequently than never, um, you know, people end up unsubscribing. So it's like, I don't know if I'm talking about something that somebody doesn't like and they unsubscribe to me, or maybe they're sick of Matt Freeman videos popping up in their feed when they want somebody else's crap to be there. Like I don't really know why people unsubscribe. I usually subscribe to somebody. Takes me a very long time to subscribe to somebody. I won't just go out there and subscribe to everybody and anybody. I only want to subscribe to those that I really want to watch. But once I subscribe to them, I will never unsubscribe. I'm still subscribed to the people that I started watching on YouTube originally, like 15 years ago. And I'm still subscribed to the channel because it was still the point. It's like, yeah, I don't watch you right now, but I still support you because 15 years ago I watched you every day. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I would never unsubscribe to somebody. So I don't really quite understand. It's not that I don't understand, but I've just never really ran into anything myself that I was like, well, screw this, I'm unsubscribing to this guy. Maybe some people just go through and, clear out their clutter or something, or maybe the account gets deleted. Like, I really don't know, but regardless, thank you for watching this video with me. I'll see you guys next time for the next one, and I love you.